Chapter 318. Purple Clothes, Gold Clothes. A group of Great Diffusion sect disciples, slowly approaching the ruins. Each of them carried a treasure to conceal their breath. With this kind of treasure, even the divine thoughts of the divine separation stage powerhouses would be difficult to detect their whereabouts. This was the Great Diffusion sect's speciality. In this way, in the silence, they quietly in the stone cave near, set up the formation cornerstone. All that was left was to wait for windless order. As the first genius of the Great Diffusion sect, although Wu Feng's cultivation level was only at the early stage of outbreeding, his achievements in formation surpassed everyone present. Therefore, this group of people had Wu Feng as their leader. Activate the formation, accompanied by a shout from Windless. Immediately afterwards, a piercing pillar of light shot up into the sky, piercing through the clouds and shooting up into the firmament. And this ruin was instantly enveloped by a golden halo of light, forming an isolated world. 9 dragons trapping and killing formation. Even if an out-of-body stage Seal King powerhouse is trapped in it, it will take months to break through it. This group of Heavenly Tao sect disciples will surely die. Watching the formation successfully activate, an icy smile appeared in Windless' eyes. What's going on? What happened? Why is the earth shaking? I feel a powerful force surrounding us. It's a formation. What a powerful formation. Get out. At this moment, within the stone cave, there was a panic. 17 disciples of the Heavenly Tao sect hurriedly fled out of the cave. But when they came out, they were dumbfounded, only to see the sky dim. There were 9 heavenly golden divine dragons roaming and roaring in it, exuding a huge might. The surroundings were shrouded by a curtain of light that was so powerful that even Yuanlin's full strength could not break it. It's a combination of a trapping formation and a killing formation. To be able to set up such a powerful formation, the enemy is extraordinary. Jin Sanchao surveyed the formation in front of him. His heart sank. He knew that today, their group was going to be in dire straits. To be able to die with all my brothers, I, Yuanlin, I am not afraid. Beside Jin Sanchao, Yuanlin, who was in the late stage of body experience, laughed, with a touch of misery in his laughter. The others were silent, but none of them had fear in their eyes. They had traveled all the way here and had long forgotten what fear was, as they had traveled from hell. Battle, kill. What is there to fear in death? A dozen or so disciples of the Heavenly Tao sect let out a determined roar as a blazing battle intent burned within them. This unyielding will shook the entire 9 dragons trap kill formation, causing the group of Great Diffusion sect disciples who had set up the formation to be extremely shocked. It's fortunate that the formation was used to trap them, otherwise we would have suffered great losses even if we killed them. Worthy of being disciples of the Heavenly Tao sect, the #1 sect of the righteous path, is truly extraordinary. That peak out of body stage powerhouse from the Great Diffusion sect praised. Windless snorted coldly, then communicated with the formation and took shape in the middle of it. Good Heavens Path sect, I admire your unyielding will. I have decided to give you a chance to survive. A huge face appeared within the formation, uttering an icy voice. HMPH. We won't believe you. Yuanlin snorted coldly. The other Heavenly Tao sect disciples launched attacks at the face that suddenly appeared in the sky. But these attacks all passed through the face and dissipated. It's useless. I'm outside the formation. You guys can't hurt me. The face was Windless, and he mockingly looked at the Heavenly Tao sect disciples below. Essence flashed in Jin Sanchao's eyes as he said in a deep voice, trapped but not killed. What is your purpose? He could see that this formation was terrifying, and it was definitely not something they could resist. In this situation, the enemy did not launch an attack, and instead talked nonsense with them. There must be a reason for this. This might be our only way to survive, Jin Sanchao thought secretly, then sent a message to Yuanlin and the others. telling them not to act rashly. Yuan Lin had great faith in Jin San Xiao, and upon hearing this, he hurriedly restrained the others and stared coldly at Windlass's face. "It seems that there are smart people amongst you. I like talking to smart." Windlass smiled gently with an ice-cold gaze, looking towards Jin San Xiao. Jin San Xiao looked at him coldly, but in his heart, he was guessing the purpose of the other party. Now that they had fallen into the hands of the other party, life and death were completely at the other party's whim. In this situation, their own side, what else was worth the other party's attention? He was very puzzled in his heart. "I wonder if there is anyone amongst you who knows a youth called Kangqion." As Windlass finished speaking, a brilliant light flashed in Jin San Xiao's eyes. Kangqion. The faces of the crowd of Heavenly Tao sect disciples were filled with doubt, and noticing their faces, a hint of disappointment flashed through Wu Feng's eyes. However, right at this moment, he saw a flash of bright light in Jin San Xiao's eyes. Windlass was instantly delighted, and with a swish, he turned his gaze towards Jin San Xiao. "Kangqion, what are you looking for him for?" Jin San Xiao knew that he couldn't hide his emotional outflow just now from Wu Feng, so he simply opened his mouth directly and asked, his eyes flickering with light as he was guessing the other party's purpose. Brother Kangqion had already entered the spirit sealing space for more than 10 years. Why did the other party suddenly ask? And how did he know about Brother Kangqion? Jin San Xiao had a stomach full of doubts. "This doesn't need to be your concern. It seems that you know this person Kangqion. Tell me his current cultivation level. And what kind of person are you to him?" Windlass asked coldly. He stared closely at Jin San Xiao, his thoughts rapidly turning in his mind. No one else knows. Only this fatty knows. Could this person be related to Kangqion in some way? Windlass thought in his heart. "Why should I tell you? HMPH. Jin San Xiao sniffed and said coldly. He thought in his heart. This person inquired about Kangqion's brother's cultivation. Looking at his expression, it was obvious that he had an enmity with Kangqion's brother. Perhaps this could be exploited. Both of them were good at plotting and scheming. At this moment, their words were exchanged, testing each other, looking for each other's weaknesses. Why, just because your lives are now in my hands. Wu Feng coldly laughed. The 9 divine dragons in the sky swooped down, entrapping an unrivaled might, that terrifying power, shaking the void, making the space within 100-mile radius, enveloped in a heavy pressure. A group of Heavenly Tao sect disciples immediately turned pale. The power of these 9 divine dragons was comparable to the peak of the outbreeding stage. One would be enough to kill them, let alone 9. Jin San Xiao also felt the pressure, but his face didn't change at all. He said in a cold voice, "If I tell you that our value will be gone, will you still let us go? Do you think I'm that stupid, eh?" Wu Feng's eyes shrunk as he stared dead at Jin San Xiao. This fat man was much more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. He laughed coldly. "You have no choice but to trust me. No, we can still choose to die." Jin San Xiao was tit for tat, his eyes filled with determination, and the Heavenly Tao sect disciples behind him all looked at Windlass with determined faces. Windlass stared at them and fell into silence. The atmosphere in the arena gradually froze without a sound. The space seemed to freeze. The tension filled the entire formation. Only the 9 divine dragons were still whistling. Jin San Xiao stared coldly at Windlass, but in his heart he was thinking of countermeasures. If he could not die, he certainly did not want to die. 3 questions. If you return to me with 1 question, I will let half of you go. After the 3rd question is answered, I will let you go. After a long time, Wu Feng's face regained its lightness as he looked towards Jin San Xiao. Jin San Xiao frowned. Then he said in a cold voice, "All right, but you must let go of the first 2 questions before I will answer you." Windlass stared coldly at Jin San Xiao and suddenly laughed. "You are ruthlessly smart. Your intelligence is worthy of admiration. I will agree to your request. Apart from you, 8 of them can leave first." Jin Sanshao secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned to the 16 heavenly Dao sect disciples behind him and said, "Brothers, make your own choice. Sanshao, we can't leave you behind." "Right, third fatty. We won't leave if you don't. The worst thing is to die. You saved my life anyway." The crowd of heavenly Dao sect disciples were filled with determination as they heard this. "Fatty 3, they're right. There's no way we're leaving you behind," Captain Yuan Lin said in a deep voice. "Brothers," looking at these familiar faces, Jin Sanshao's eyes were a little moist. Then he used his true essence to evaporate his tears and secretly transmitted his voice. "Brothers, Fatty, I know your determination. But it's better to die than to live. And there's no fear of no wood left in the green hills. What's more, since this person has something to inquire about, he definitely won't kill me easily. Even if he kills me, you guys have to stay alive to avenge me." The crowd of heavenly Dao sect disciples hesitated. Jin Sanshao continued to transmit his voice. "Don't be impulsive. If we all die, who will avenge our deaths in the future? If we can't avenge our hatred, I, 3 Fatty, can't rest in peace even if I die." Listening to Jin Sanshao's words, the crowd of heavenly Dao sect disciples fell silent. "I have limited qualifications. Even if I live, it's impossible for me to avenge your death. I'll stay behind to accompany you." Half a second later, Jin Sanshao's good friend, Skinny Bum, said, "Me too." 5 people stood out at once, all of them with low cultivation and limited qualifications. At this moment, their faces were full of determination, willing to accompany Jin Sanshao to the Yellow Springs. Jin Sanshao watched and was secretly touched, transmitting, "Captain and the 7 brothers who are not injured leave. This place is still a distance from the base. If you bring injured brothers, you may not be able to return to the base alive." Yuan Lin hesitated at his words. He was unwilling to leave. "Captain, third Fatty is right. I lost my fighting ability long ago, so I'll stay and accompany third Fatty," a wounded brother said in a deep voice. After he finished speaking, several other injured brothers also nodded their heads in a hurry. "Captain, you take the other brothers to leave first. Leave a contact method. I will find a way to save the remaining brothers. And after you guys rendezvous, return to the base immediately. If you guys find Kangchon, just tell him that I'm dead, and ask him to take care of my Jin family." Jin Sanshao once again transmitted his voice. Yuan Lin's face changed, finally glancing at the group of brothers behind him. He held back his tears and nodded heavily. Seeing this, Jin Sanshao revealed a pleased smile. "It seems like you guys have already decided." Windlass's words came out, followed by a tremor in the large formation, and a gap opened in the light curtain not far away. 8 of you leave from there. Don't play tricks on me or all of you will die," Windlass said in a cold voice. "I have the soul jade slips of my brothers. If anything happens to them, we will know immediately." Jin Sanshao also said coldly. He knew that the other party still had people outside in ambush, so his words were threatening at the moment. "Don't worry, third young master. If the people outside dare to stop us, we will pull them along and blow ourselves up," Yuan Lin said firmly. Windlass' eyes narrowed and he grunted coldly. "I'm as good as my word. So why don't you guys leave?" Yuan Lin and the 7 heavenly Dao sect disciples all looked towards Jin Sanshao, and the remaining 8 heavenly Dao sect disciples, each of their eyes showing reluctance and guilt. "Take care, brothers," Jin Sanshao said. "Take care." Yuan Lin's face was heavy as he led the 7 heavenly Dao sect disciples and left through that crevice. As they left, the slit gradually combined. At that moment, outside the grand formation, 8 figures appeared, and it was Yuan Lin and the other 8 heavenly Dao sect disciples. "Captain," the 7 heavenly Dao sect disciples looked towards Yuan Lin. "Go," Yuan Lin said in a deep voice, taking a deep look at the 9 dragon trapping and killing formation behind them. Then he led them, heading towards the distance ********.